No, I don't believe anybody's slowing me down on feeds and stuff in my computer today in the computer lab as being anybody associated with NSI or CIA groups or people associated with other groups that are trying to help elevate ourselves and change, like monetary groups like what's happening now. I don't believe my president's behind it. I don't believe any of my Lopez friends that I have imaginarily in my mind are behind it. They've showed too much courage and too much forthright things that we converse about in my telekinetic state for them to be considered too chicken to stand up and be truthful and stand for truth and more truthful life. I don't believe it's anybody from that side of the equation, or anybody from my friends and family in Sierra Vista that I friend up with and stuff like that. Yeah, I know you guys always sit there. Betrayal never crossed your mind. No, it doesn't cross my mind. Why? Because I'm not that fucking stupid. Stop making me cuss. It's vulgar and it needs to stop. Lie is a vulgar expression of self. Lie is Satan. Okay, that's what was explained. There is no Satan. The Hebrew translation of the word Satan means accuser, which means a liar. There are no liars. You just lied. There's Satan right there. There is no Satan. You're Satan. Why? Because the Satan means accuser, which means liar, and you just said there's no lie. People lie all the time. Do you believe in money? Do you practice money? Do you deal in money? Do you have to deal in an extortion-based economy, which is a lie here on planet Earth, to pay your extortion here to survive on planet Earth? Then there is a Satan. Do you understand? Satan needs to be laid down and tied down and put down. We need to tie Satan down. It is essential for our existence as a species and for life on our planet to tie Satan down expeditiously. Okay, this is a tie down. We won't be able to defeat Satan altogether until 1,000 years from now, when my Uncle Jesus returns to a present state of being with the rest of you. It's tangible. It's practical. They can do it. They wouldn't bring him back to this day and time because it would be a horrible place for him to try to evolve in. I am not as highly evolved as my Uncle Jesus because I grew up and was raised and evolved in this almost roach-like condition as compared to people 2,000 years ago and people 1,000 years from today. I'm like the redheaded stepchild. I'm like the one that has trouble. I make mistakes. I get fussy. I stare at that woman's butt getting in the car back there. Well, she had a nice butt. I'm sorry. It's hard. And not that hard. No, guys, knock it off. I find women particularly attractive, especially ones with, like Al G said in his song, So Sweet in Your Ear, girls with nice tits and big hips. I'm attracted to you. That girl ain't adding to the cash, and I'm subtracting her. He knew that part of the lyrics was wrong. He told me he was embarrassed about it, but I was like, Al G, it was just hip-hop, man. It's just guys being guys, man. I love that song. Al G says that in it, and he says, the heat in your seat is give a fuck. Oh, if you acting tough. Those side proteins, silly rappers, your time has come. I love that song. It's one of my favorites. And Joe gets in there and says, I'm going to go to the club and watch booty shake. You get yours, I did, gotta skate. It's just like, basically, it's just two guys just being selfish men, just doing their shit and getting paid, getting laid, and this is the way it is. Drink some lemonade. I love that song. Slide Pro. So sweet in your ear, and the bass on it is, I'm flipping boys like a spatula with my verbal vernacular. Show you the daytime is nowhere on the calendar. Creep like a tarantula, break off any challenge. Show them the daytime is nowhere on the calendar. You take advice from the G like it's from your manager. Oh man, I love that song. Oh boy. Yeah, it's a good song. So Sweet in Your Ear. Maybe I'll have to post it for y'all, so you can peep it in and take in a little sweetness from it and stuff. But I remember after I posted, he gave them to me. He was like, I was kind of embarrassed by some of the things. I was like, no, man, don't. And the other one was Make Me Feel Good. He did with Chuck Sly, and he sits there and he goes, it sounds like a summer day, going roll around, listen to some Marvin Gaye. Who rules the world? Who do you believe in? When anyone breathe in can leave your ass bleed in. Seems like a trip. All these guys running around like they power. He says he's gonna go to the club and leave with the baddest chick. She looked at me and said, "Could I handle it?" He said, "I handle it. I'm gonna dismantle it. I'm gonna start practicing like I was actress." Ask her girl. She wants to go home and we can make sandwiches. I said, baby, I want to see the booty. Bend over, show me the booty. I was laughing, but it was just, it's a good song, and I really liked it. And he said in there, part in it, he sits there and he says, maybe if I have a child, I'll stop being a child, or maybe I'll ever be wild, running around 80 years old saying, how you like me now? How you like me now? But, oh, man, I love that song, too. But I like relating to men and my fellow men, and stuff, and that's that George Carlin thing about men being stupid and women being crazy. And, yeah, I think a lot of it, when women DNA interface with a lot of stupid men, eventually women start to display some of the stupidity that men have, and then men trying to work with the crazy that the women have, they start to display a lot of the crazy that the women get about from the men being stupid. So it's, George Carlin is not exactly understanding the DNA interface of this stuff, and stuff like that. My wife went and had sex with stupid men and would get stupider, and I'd have to tolerate it and then try to raise our children in the process with all this stupidity from these men that she would go and screw around with and put it into our playground of our family and how we tried to put it together. I know how DNA molecular interfacing works with sexual activity. That's why I recommend to you that it's most intelligent to remain faithful to your spouse. That was one of the, Algie, what song was that, man? When you simplify to do or die to remain faithful to you and I. Is that in I'm a Spaceman? I think. I don't know. But I like that. That's one of my favorite lyrics of his. But, yeah, you got to remain faithful to your, when you decide to have a marriage, you got to remain faithful to you and I. You're not just being faithful to you. You're being faithful to her. You're being faithful to God. You made those vows before something greater than yourself. It's like, I used to say that with, the parents' daddy's handbook manual 101, that, you got to be faithful because it's being faithful to your babies, and you screw around on your wife, you screw around on your children. So that's like taking your children and having them raped. That's just sick and vile. It shows how selfish you become. And it really just, you should be disgusted in yourself. I shouldn't be disgusted in you. I should help you see the disgusting and stop the disgusting. I mean, when you decide to make vows, to be truthful and honest and protecting, it's very, very serious, especially the moment the children enter the equation. I've made a lot of women really mad at me with these equations and a lot of men really pissed off too, but I could really give a frog less. I don't care. I don't care if I take you if you're hypocrisy and kick you sideways. I don't care if I make you feel like you're the biggest heathen hypocrite putting on a show for everybody to see, but you lying to you and me and everybody in between. See, Satan means accuser. An accuser is a liar, and I'm not a liar. And if there is no Satan, there is no liars. And if there's no liars, we're all full of shit, because this distortion-based economy that we all have to submit to and live to and pay homage to is destroying the means to our very own existence. And it's something we need to stop, this abomination and this lie of Satan being in charge. We need to tie this bitch down right quick. You know what I'm saying? Ralph, you need to speak more eloquently, more articulately, so I can take you and tie you up my words and behave like a good, self-righteous heathen that leads the people to inequity? Heck no. Ralphie come rolling like that. Ralphie kick ass as he roll and he flow and he go, and that's just the way it is. I'm Sniper for life, bro. We Sniper for life only because we are that way for life, because we dogs and we roll like that and rule for people to do anything to succeed. But we also Sniper for life like Jesus was for life, pro-life, not pro-life like I'm going to be a hypocrite and say people can't get an abortion because I don't think they should be able to have an abortion, even though I've had an abortion, but I think God doesn't want us to have an abortion. That's between them and God, and I'm not going to work with that kind of a quagmire, but I am going to try to prevent rape. I am going to try to help us learn how to manage ourselves better sexually, manage our emotions and stuff like that. I'm not going to tell people they're not sexual and they can't have a sexual relationship with themselves and with others. Yes, with themselves. You have to learn to be able to figure out what makes you tick sexually. You have to, everybody masturbates. Masturbation is not evil. Judging people for touching themselves, you make it private, just like you get to know yourself, just like when you get to know your girl. Okay, that's the whole thing. It makes it hard. I avoid GBH. It's Gordon B. Hinckley, one of the late presidents of the Mormon Church. His name is Gordon B. Hinckley Jr., I believe, and I call him the GBH. That's his hip hop name. Me and him have always had a close connective connection. He has a wonderful sense of humor. He's very tolerant and intelligent, and he loves a lot of things about hip-hop when the culture gets it in the right style and understanding, okay? He can comprehend someone like Speech, someone like Guru, and someone like Tupac Shakur when they're talking about ghetto gospel, when they're talking about royalty, when they're talking about words I manifest, and when they're talking about Ease My Mind and Mr. Wendell and things like that. He can relate. He's a very intelligent, comprehensive, listening man. He listens. That's why he was the president of the Mormon Church, because he listens really well. You can't have a leadership position if you don't listen very well. Even if you're doing it to be selfish and have acquisition of power, wealth, and manipulation. That's not the type of person that Gordon B. Hinckley was. Okay, he wanted to build more temples because he wanted to spread the church, because he wanted to build more grounds and places of fellowship for the people in the churches together, because he understood like that too. Ice Snoop Dogg, thank you, Snoop Dogg, yeah, a hip hop human being said, and he said it, and he shouldn't apologize for it, but he did, because welfare is supposed to be such a bad thing. The apostles work on the welfare tip. Jesus was talking about feeding everybody. That's how he fed everybody, because it was welfare. Everybody feeding everybody and giving to everybody and sharing with one another. There's a portion in the Gospels when one of the disciples is lost his coat and he's griping because he's got his coat stolen. Jesus takes his coat off and gives it to him, and he says, "Then you won't have one." And Jesus is like, "Well, yeah." He doesn't. It's not explained in the Gospels, but it's like, yeah, there's your problem. Your brother doesn't have a coat and feels he has to steal one. And shouldn't everybody, when it's cool, have a coat? Shouldn't everybody have a place to sleep? Shouldn't everybody have a bite to eat when we have enough to feed all? Shouldn't we? There will always be the poor and their lot, but a lot of times poor is a choice. And I will not force my will on others to make me be poor in spirit, so other people starve because I have plenty and they have not. Muhammad discusses it also. Make sure that they are dressed like you, meaning covered, well, shoes, feet, new shoes when they need new shoes, new coats when they need new coats, blankets, a house to live in, not an opulent mansion that uses more resources than it should to consume, but a nice, fine mansion for you to live in and enjoy your family. I'm going to go back in there, and this is my intermission for the day. We had to get intermission through maybe 2 to 3 feeds out of 8 feeds a day. I'm somewhat agitated, but not to an innate degree where I'm like flipping and tripping. But I am quite annoyed by the fact that these feeds are being interrupted. There's obviously people in the surveillance net and certain other things that don't want to deal with the truth right away about what things were going down and how they go down and how they work. You cannot deal in espionage and lie. We are working with these people. You have to call them out on it, like my pop said about the Kennedys. Tell them the truth. Yeah, I screwed around with Marilyn Monroe. I got caught. I'm sorry. Same way old Clinton did it. They flipped the script. You go like that. The best way to confront people with the truth is tell them the truth. I screwed up. I was a liar. I was full of shit. I did stupid shit. We need to quit. We need to be more honest. You can't use it to then manipulate and deal in more deception so you can set it up. Now they trust me. Now I'm going to use it to abuse them. That's not how you raise good children, and that's not how you hit the mark. Do you understand? Whew, I talked to a beautiful redheaded lady out here with a little girl that she was with, and the little girl, I don't know if she was adopted, if it was her daughter or what, but she was a beautiful little, for political correct terms and lack of a better, I say a little black girl. She was beautiful, with the little beautiful curls in hair, and just beautiful, just adorable little girl. Very smart, very intelligent, very kind, and very sweet, because she mirrored a lot of the lady that was with her. I don't know if it was a friend, a mother, or what. I didn't ask. I just saw the two of them together and the wonderful rapport and relationship that we had, and they had, and I admired it and enjoyed it. I never question. I just look and I see, when I see that the relationship is a relationship between two individuals that regard and respect and love each other, I don't question the fact that the one that looks like the mother is red hair, blue eyes, and the whitest of skin, and the little girl who's with her has the brownest of skin, the brownest of eye, and it doesn't bother me at all. I just see family working together, and I could tell that there was that type of relationship between the two. I didn't need to ask what the dynamic was. You can feel the dynamic. Okay? And Solomon explained that to me too. He's like, Ralph, it doesn't matter. I mean, at that very last moment, it could have been the mother that got drunk and passed out on top of the kid and killed the kid that ended up with the servant's baby, because the servant was going to acquiesce and let Solomon cut the baby in half rather than stand for the truth. So it could have been either side. It's just that the real mother would have learned the lesson that the child's life is more valuable than fighting over the baby or submitting to a king's decision, which would mean cut the baby in half. I mean, it was just beautiful understanding and comprehension. The more that Solomon expressed to me the analysis of that lesson about take the baby and cut it in half, and the true mother is the one that said, don't cut the baby in half, let the other woman have the child. That woman was now best equipped to be the parent, regardless of the circumstances of that dynamic. I'm like, wow, Solomon, that's deep. That's an awful price to pay. Hey, she should have jumped up and said, don't, just let him keep my baby. Don't kill my baby. You can't be that fearful that you'll let somebody kill your baby rather than give your baby away. Your baby's life is more important than your possession of the baby. Solomon is extraordinarily wise. That is deep. Good gravy. When he explained it to me, I was like, wow, that's off the charts analytical abilities. That's my son. I gotta go, guys. I love you. I hope these load up, man. Blessings and peace.